future, Yaron. Yeah. 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 Hey, found my future, Yahuwah. When everything shakes, my bones they quiver. My heart it shatters. My tears run down my face like a captive breaking free, running through an open field. Oh captivity, oh captivity, please let go.
Shalom, how y'all doing? It's your brother Zamar in the building again. I hope y'all doing well. Hallelujah. Number one, I want to give all esteem to Yahuwah, Alua, the creator of the Shamayim and the Arets. I want to also give eternal honor to Yahushua HaMashiach, his son, his instrument that he used, the one that's a cod with him, to utilize to speak word and manifest what he had and become the word manifested in the flesh. And I also want to give, proper honors to everyone that, that deserve those type of honors. But anyway, with that being said, I reverence Yahuwah because, sometimes he give us things and he give me things to think about, to think on, and it really just baruch me. I love wisdom, you know what I'm saying? In general, I do. I love the essence of it. So I heard a quote in this video, and this video is a book that I've read before, but it's The Art of War. So he took a quote from the book of The Art of War, and it says, "In order to defeat your enemy, you must become your enemy." And I thought that was interesting. And it's just the principle in it. Because essentially we know he's not saying literally become your enemy, because if you become your literal enemy, you become an enemy to yourself. But it's the aspect of being able to think from the shoe of the person that's opposed to you, or the person that's an adversary to you. And I thought it was pretty interesting because from multiple different dynamics, we can look at that and get wisdom from it and have something that we can apply to be able to put ourselves in a better position. That can be spiritually, if you understand the position of your enemy and you stop making everything illogical, because some things don't form out to the full logic of why you do it, but some things still have a logic to why the adversary does it, right? So you have to think about these things, and these things again can give you more of a why or a reason for what you're doing. So with that being said, for instance, spiritually, we know that Hasatan means the adversary, right? We understand that this can be from a dynamic of, we talking about the spiritual realm, the realm that's unseen, and we notice that there are things that's working against us. I always use this analogy, like there's a seat waiting for you in the Shamayim to be fulfilled, to be filled. Because we sit in heavenly places with Yahushua HaMashiach, who sits at the right hand of Alua. So there's a position, there's a role, there's a function for you in the Shamayim, awaiting for you to manifest the fullness of righteousness that's been declared from the Shamayim in the Arets, for you to manifest in the Arets, for it to represent where you sit in the Shamayim, right? With that being said, if you know that you got a seat in the Shamayim, and this realm is an unseen realm, then of course there's going to be an enemy that's going to pursue to keep you from getting in that seat, because maybe they had a seat likened to it, or a seat similar to it, or that seat, right? And we can talk about from Ruachs to whatever we want to go with that route. And we also talk about this from how things are set up from a physical place for us as Hebrews, being in a system that suppresses us in many ways, in many forms. Many people may not agree with that, but the facts cannot be debated. If you take your emotions out of it, the facts remain. I can preach this message 1,000 times and still not feel like I suffice the fullness of what my ancestors have been through here in North America. Truthfully, there's been a lot of things that's happened. Off the rip, we're talking about things like the Tuskegee experiment. We're talking about what happened on what we consider our Black Wall Street. You know what I'm saying? What happened in OKC, like that was big. You know what I'm saying? When we talk about what happened in the Jim Crow era, when we talk about what happened in the time period of chattel slavery. What happened in, the southern states when you see black people like the Gullah Geechee down here in Charleston right now, the Gullah Geechee people having to flee from certain places where they was at and even go dwell amongst the Native Americans in some aspects to be able to fight against the oppressors that was coming over here to set up an economic system that they could thrive off of. All these things are things that if you understood the position of your enemy, you would know why he fights so hard to get what he get. With that being said, to be able to defeat your enemy, you must become your enemy. Again, that's not literally becoming your enemy and walking in his image, because that's what we mess up as a people. We walk in the image of our enemy, but that's not what Yahuwah essentially wants us to get, right? And of course, this statement ain't coming from Yahuwah. It's coming from a wise general that had sayings that he wanted his people to follow. But what I'm getting at is essentially we can still use this principle and say, okay, if I know my enemy and I understand what he's doing, that's just wisdom. That's discernment. That's having a form of foresight, and that puts you in a place where you're walking in discretion, meaning you're being careful about what you do, because you know that, like the scriptures say, I got water on one side, fire on one side. You know that they got tax on one side and broken glass on the other side. If you make the wrong move, you know what essentially the consequences of that is going to be. So with that being said, we got to keep in mind and be strategic about the way that we do things, by the way that we speak, by the way that we carry ourselves, because at the end of the day, you got to understand that you have an enemy, and this enemy has certain things set up to keep you from becoming what you desire to become or getting to certain places. Now, some things, what you aspire to become, may be beneficial to them, may be beneficial to it, whatever the adversary may be. I'm not dwelling this down to a physical or spiritual place solely. Mentally, you know what I'm saying? You got to understand, if you love cookies and the box of cookies is what's essentially compromising your health, compromising your well-being, compromising who you are, then with that being said, if you go study the mind, because if this thing is becoming a place where it's becoming afflicting to you and not necessarily helpful, but it's actually decreasing your well-being, decreasing your overall state, your health, which is, the scriptures say that your health is above wealth. It's, have through health is above having infinite wealth. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, if you understand the mind of the creator of that product, based off of supply and demand, you constantly keep coming for it. In their mind, they're gonna keep supplying, because through them supplying, they get profit. They gain something. You gain an aspect of recreation. You gain an aspect of fulfillment. You gain an aspect of momentary sufficiency. But at the end of the day, you gotta understand, at the end of the day, is this helping me? So know your enemy, man. Understand that you got generations that's following you, even if they don't see you. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? You might be somebody that might be wrote about. That can be a shift and a change in history. You might be somebody that may be spoke about to somebody you never knew. You may help their children, and their children become something great for our people in general. That shift history, shift the dynamic of history. I guarantee you, a lot of the people that are our historic icons that we look to and be like, man, these people really made a change for us. They didn't know they was gonna be wrote about the way they was wrote about. We talking about from the prophets to the priests. We talking about even the wicked. They didn't know that they was gonna be wrote about the way that they was wrote about, but it's through their continuation of whatever function they operated in. So with that being said, y'all, know your enemy. Brother, stay on point. I love y'all. Be sufficient. Be sufficient for what you need it for. Be efficient. You know what I'm saying? Be proactive. We all got things to work on. You know what I'm saying? But as I say, let's all just keep growing together, pushing each other to become what we need to become for the future and for those that come after us. I love y'all. Yahuwah Baruch. Tap in with your brother. Hallelujah.